All right, guys, welcome back to the BNB Professional. I'm excited about today's episode. Today's the second interview ever on the BNB Professional. I'm very excited for the guest that we have today. He's become a good friend of mine in the last few months. Where after I met him at a meetup that he hosts in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for Airbnb hosts and also real estate investors from all different types, multifamilies and all that. So very, very smart guy. And we're going to get into Pricelabs, really, how he uses Pricelabs, because he really caught my eye on it. So just a little bit about Sean. All right, we have Sean Howell here on the podcast today, and he is the co-founder of Breezy BNB. All right, you guys can see his listings at easybreezybnb.com. He co-founded this company with his girlfriend, Vanessa Sperduto. Shout out to Vanessa. All right, probably one of the cutest couples and nicest couples that I've met in a long, long time. Which, thank you for having me in your home as well. I just want to
kind words, man.
Yes, I want to say that. So Easy Breezy BNB is they own and manage Airbnbs in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they currently have 9 Airbnb units in their portfolio. So welcome, Sean Howell. Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've been excited to do this. Like, I think the first time I met Sean, I was like, dude, you need to be on my podcast, right? Like, I didn't even know you.
Straight up.
I was like,
I think at that time you had just started, maybe like episode 1 or something like that.
I had literally just started. I think, no, I hadn't even started it. I haven't even started. I'm on episode.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm on episode 37 now, right? So it's been like 4 months. And when I talked to you, like, I think I started like 3 days after that. Like the first
because you had told me. Yeah, I think you had told me you were gonna do two podcast episodes a week, and I was like, oh man, all right, good luck.
Yeah, that was the consensus that I got from a lot of people. I think my cousin messaged me like privately. He's like, dude, you're saying that you're gonna do two podcast episodes a week. Like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? I was like, man, I got this. Don't worry about it. But I've been keeping it up, so it's been good. So I'm happy that you're here, man. I'm happy that we're finally doing it. I told you were going to be on here. That you were going to be one of the first. So here we are. So
awesome, man. Yeah,
man. So Sean, tell me your story. Tell the audience your story. We want to hear your origin story. You know, how'd you get started in Airbnb? And I believe you were a pharmacist before. You were working at Publix, and now you have these 9 Airbnb units. So it's very inspiring. I want to hear from you, man. Tell me, how'd you get started? What was your experience? And now, you know, what have you learned along the way? And now that you have 9 Airbnb units, you know, how's the life? How's the Airbnb life?
Sure, man. So I have to say, it's busy, definitely, but I love it. You know, it's, you know, work kind of, especially now that we're kind of in this growing stage. You know, we've been working a lot, but I mean, it's way better than the 9 to 5. I have to say.
Nice.
Definitely have to say.
Hell yeah. I was
sure,
but I was telling Sean that I was at the beach today on a Wednesday. That's the lifestyle.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, so your origin story.
But yeah. So I started. I mean, if you want to kind of take it way back, I'm like by trade or by profession, I'm a pharmacist. I graduated back in 2012, and I was working for 5 years full time, and then I kind of delved into the entrepreneur world. Kind of a crazy story. From there, I became a professional poker player. Did that for several years and did well there. Was able to save some money, and then got into stocks. Wow. That was fun. And then from there, I ended up I'm still into stocks, by the way, but like I ended up kind of settling on real estate. I really liked real estate. I liked the idea of real estate, the longevity of it. Right. And so, from, within the real estate world, I really kind of carved my way out a little bit with buying and selling land, actually. But during that time when I was buying and selling a lot of land, I bought a duplex up in Fort Lauderdale. Right. And me and my girlfriend Vanessa decided to move into the duplex, and so I renovated our side, and then we had a tenant on the other side. The tenant ended up moving out, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to renovate it. And at the time, the rent was like, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, pretty decent size, 1,000 square feet or so. Not bad. But I was going to rent it for like $1,700 or $1,800 or something like that after I renovated it. And Vanessa had the brilliant idea to try this Airbnb thing she had, kind of heard so much about. She's like, "Listen, let me do this. Let me try it out. Let's just make it happen." And at the time, I was kind of busy with my land thing, and I was like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of work at the parties, and I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. I was like, but she ended up convincing me with the help of our good friends Matt and Monica. Shout out to Matt and Monica.
Shout out. All right.
Yeah, and anyway, so I said, okay, this is going to be your project, though. Go ahead.
Matt and Monica. I haven't met Matt, but Monica, she's hosting the
she's hosting the Landlords and Loggers meetup,
right? Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I had to come with me. I'm like super bad with names, but I had to come with me. Like I'm better with faces, but yes. Monica is amazing. So shout out to her. They're doing cool things too. So
they're doing great things.
Right.
But
sorry, go.
But yeah, going. So they were hosts, so they basically convinced me to go ahead and try it, and then I said, okay, Vanessa, this is gonna be your project, you handle it. Like, I don't really want anything to do with it, but like, if you set it up, whatever, we'll see what happens.
Right.
And she ended up setting it up, decorating the whole thing, putting it up on Airbnb, and very, very, very quickly saw how lucrative it was. I mean, I think when we first put it up, we put it up like in the summertime. June, like instantly booked. July, almost like the whole July, almost instantly booked within like a week. And I was like, wow. And then what's really cool is when you start doing Airbnb, it's not like monthly payouts, right? You get like these like almost daily or weekly payouts when the guest checks in. So yes. I just kept seeing money just going into my bank account. I was like, oh, we gotta do more of these. and so from there, I ended up buying another place and putting both sides of the duplex on. And from there, really, it was just like a matter of like, okay, how can we scale this thing, right? Because you only have so much money to keep buying your own properties, right? At the time, there was a shift kind of in real estate where before Airbnb wasn't like super popular, but all of a sudden you start seeing listings popping up on like Redfin and whatever saying, oh, this is an Airbnb friendly neighborhood, or this house is perfect for Airbnb. I was like, wow, they're really starting to advertise this, right? Like maybe there's probably going to be a bunch of owners that were just like me that like might be interested in getting involved in that space, right? Making a little bit of extra money, but don't want to actually deal with the headaches of managing, cleaning, parties, whatever. So we decide from there, okay, well, let's start a property management company and let's manage for these owners. And do like a revenue split. And so we started the company, and then from there we basically started advertising, and we grew to what we are now of we're at 9 units.
9 units, man. That's amazing. That is amazing. Very, very good story. Are you do you still have the duplex?
Still have it.
Okay, so how many
still kicking.
Right. So how many do you own? Like how or what percentage of your portfolio are you owning versus managing?
So I own 4.
4.
I own 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I own 4, and then we manage 5.
Nice, nice. And so owning and owning and management. Have you ever done rental arbitrage or no?
No, never did. Never did rental arbitrage. No, that model. I had thought about it. So actually, when we first started trying to scale or thinking about how we can scale, we thought about rental arbitrage, and we even were looking for units. I was cold calling and reaching out to, all these for rent houses or whatever to see if they would allow me. But I didn't get too far with it, and I also didn't necessarily. Once I actually broke down the numbers of like the initial startup costs, like first, last security, the entire furnishing, right, versus how much you're potentially going to make and how long it's going to take to make that initial investment back, and then on top of that, being at the mercy of a landlord that may not like you doing that anymore, versus also the idea of being trapped in a lease if things don't work out, versus like this management model where you could make essentially the same thing, and if things don't work out, you don't lose. It's just, I don't know, it kind of seemed like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah. And I ask you that because I say it on the podcast all the time. Like, I'm trying to steer people away, especially for my audience that's just getting started in an Airbnb. All these people out there pushing rental arbitrage. Literally like the biggest names out there are pushing rental arbitrage, and I'm like, oh man, like I don't think we should be pushing that in this industry. So I'm glad. Thank you for answering that question. But so you got
for sure,
you're owning and managing. And so you're going to continue growing the management company?
Oh, 100%. That's like the main focus right now, is really trying to grow the management side of the business and try to scale. Our goals, what are we in? We're in July now. Our goal is to get to 20 by the end of the year. That's the goal we've set.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very, very, very possible.
Check back in December.
Plus, I gave you a nugget, man. I gave you a nugget before we started. I started. Me and Sean were talking about bandit signs, which I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. All right, I wrote an ebook. I just released it, I think last week, and I talk about it. Ebook. So your next Airbnb, BNBSideHustle.com. I'll send it to you, Sean, if you wanna read that stuff. But
definitely.
But yeah, I was giving him the whole breakdown on the campaign that changed my life.
Dude,
that's what I'm calling it.
Gems, man, I like that.
That's what I'm calling it. So, cause yeah, man, the it was crazy, the conversion rates and the response rates. But try it out for sure. But yeah, so Sean, definitely a professional, or has become a professional here in the industry, especially down here in South Florida. He's in Fort Lauderdale. All right, basically in the same market as I am. So, the first thing that, and the reason I wanted to bring Sean on the podcast is because I really wanted to talk about Pricelabs. All right. Pricelabs for me, I did my last episode, or I just recorded one. It's going to be released tomorrow. So yeah, my last episode was about Pricelabs because I've been geeking out about this thing for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. I talked to Sean probably a few months ago about it, and he piqued my interest. I was really against dynamic pricing. I was doing this thing manually, and when I told him I was doing it manually, he was like, "What? What are you doing? Like, what the hell are you doing?" I remember your reaction. I was like, "Oh man, like I don't know what I'm doing here," but I was completely against it because of my experience with Beyond. I don't really want to talk bad about Beyond because maybe they'll be on the podcast in the future, but I just had a bad experience. Anyways, but he told me about Pricelabs. I just got on it, and I've been getting bookings like crazy, dude. Like it's been crazy, insane. And I even texted you. I was like, dude, I'm getting, it's really insane the power that Pricelabs has because of, and we'll get into all the stuff that the features that it is. But I wanted to ask you first, like, before you got, have you always been using dynamic pricing since you started?
Actually, yeah, pretty much since day one.
From day one. Okay.
Yeah, like, 'cause so how it happened, when I first started, I don't know, just kind of my nature. I like to really do a lot of kind of my homework before I start something. Like if I'm going to do something,
right,
I don't like to just kind of half-ass it. I like to really like look into what I'm doing and understand what I'm doing.
Right.
So I had a friend who was doing Airbnb, and she had grown from 1 unit to like 3 units pretty quickly, and I was very impressed because I was like, to me is like, especially at the time, I didn't understand like, how do you have more than like 1? You have 3, like, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I was kind of asking her some advice about our first one, and she was telling me to get on Pricelabs. And when I started doing my research, it just made sense to me. I mean, there's so many different like little things that you would never know. For example, like when exactly are the high demand days? When are the low demand days? Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, Pricelabs will jack up my rates on a random weekend, and I have no idea why. Come to find out, there was some random festival that I had no idea about, or some random concert that was in town, no idea about, and you make the extra money, right? And you just, if you would have been doing pricing yourself, you just miss out on that. Or another example is like during the holiday times, I mean, especially like Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving. Everybody knows you should probably increase rates during those times, but they increase rates to a point where I thought, oh wow, that's disrespectful. Yeah. But people will pay it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's crazy. I think my little 2-bedroom duplex unit, I think like Christmas, New Year's was doing like $400 a night or something, $450 a night for a little 2-bedroom. I was like, okay.
You serious?
I'm dead serious, man. People paid it. Yeah, the duplex in December, I think brought in like $13,000.
Wow. A 2-bedroom. This is a 2-bedroom.
Well, both sides.
Oh my god! And they're both, but
so like 6,500 a piece. Yeah, 2 bedrooms. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah,
that's
so
insane.
that was
yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed too. Like the Pricelabs like puts it in on the random days, dude. Like how do you price this thing? You know, it's probably like 50 or even like 100% more than what I would have priced it myself. And I'm like,
right, exactly.
And I'm like, dude, like, you know, $300 a night for a 2-bedroom. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know, but it works. It works. So
it works, man.
It works. Yeah, I'm glad you put me onto Pricelabs for sure. Especially, I needed to make a change during slow season. My June, we're in July. My June was like, like just bleh.
June was ugly.
How was June for you?
People, man.
How was June for you? Ugly. Really?
It was not. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest night, but our occupancy rate was still at like probably like 77 to 80%.
See,
and I really do attribute that to Pricelabs. Honestly, man, like Pricelabs, and also, you know, obviously it's not. Here's the thing: Pricelabs isn't like a set it and forget it tool, right? Like you still have to know your market. You still have to know roughly when your slow seasons are. You have to know roughly what other things are going for, and you have to check in on it like once a week. But I mean, really, if you know that, like, it'll fluctuate the price for you to make sure you kind of stay filled up.
Right. So that was one of the first questions.
That's what I found.
One of the first questions. So let's kind of get into that.
Sure.
So first of all, you have all your units on there, right? All the ones that you have. How many you have live right now? You have 6, 7.
So right now we have 7 live and two coming.
2 coming. All right. So you have 7 on there, right? So I want to say that I want to say that because I want the audience to know like how cost effective it is, right? How cost effective it
Sure.
is to do it, because the reason I got on Pricelabs and I looked at the dynamic pricing altogether is because, you know, I knew I had to get there regardless. Like I had to find an alternative, because the way I was doing it just wasn't scalable, right? It's just doing it manually is not scalable, especially when you get to how many units you have.
Crazy time consuming, right?
Right, crazy time consuming, and it's kind of nerve wracking too, because you're especially if you're managing, right? You need to keep the occupancy rate up for your owners. So.
Yeah.
You need the big guns, bro, and Pricelabs is the big guns. So you have all your units on there, right? Can you explain from a day-to-day operations, right? You're the one who's dealing with Pricelabs in your company.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the pricing guy.
Right. So how is your day-to-day, like, or on your week to week, or on your month to month? How often are you on Pricelabs? How often are you checking it up? And yeah, like, have you? I mean, you've never been off of Pricelabs, so, but are you spending a lot of time? Is what I want to know.
No, not really. Honestly, maybe like 10 minutes a week. Honestly, 10, 15 minutes a week. Tops.
Wow.
Yeah, what I will say though is when I was setting it up, when I was messing with it. So okay, well, can I rewind like 2 steps?
Yeah, for sure.
I actually started on Beyond Pricing.
Okay.
I didn't start on Pricelabs. I started on Beyond Pricing.
Okay.
Which if you don't have like a lot of like the main difference between the two, in my opinion, number one is Beyond Pricing charges 1% of the bookings, whereas Pricelabs is a flat fee per booking.
Yes.
So when I found out how much I was actually paying for Beyond versus like Pricelabs, I was like, it was like literally twice as much, if not even a little bit more. And then on top of that too, Pricelabs just offers a lot more customization options, which I really, really like.
Right.
Not to say Beyond is bad though, because Beyond was great for me, but I just wanted a little bit more.
Right.
But I think that I lost my train. What was your question again?
Yeah, no, it's all good. How much time? What is your week to week, your day to day look like?
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying was when I was first setting up Pricelabs, I actually messed around with it quite a bit because, like I said, there's a lot of customization options. So there's a lot of different settings you can mess with. Like you can change what you want your pricing to be out like far away, like longer than if they're booking for 60 days out or more, it's one set of pricing. If they're booking within 60 days, it's another set of pricing. If they're booking within 7 days or 30 days, it's another set. You can there's different like profiles you can use, right? Like they have ones that like if you want to be aggressive with your pricing, they have a style for that. If you want to be conservative, if you want to only take certain clientele, you can tailor it basically however your style is, your management style is really.
Right.
So yeah,
and let's. I want to take a step back because you said, as far as how they charge you in your business, is it per booking or because yeah, I saw that Beyond Pricing is 1%, so that's really, they're taking a chunk of your revenue on a monthly basis. But Pricelabs, how do they charge? Do they charge monthly for your listing, or they're charging per booking that you get?
It's monthly, so it's
monthly.
Like,
okay.
I can't remember what the exact pricing is. I think maybe it's like $20 a month per listing.
Right.
Something like
that. Okay. Yeah. And I was asking you because you actually scared me for a second too, because you said that they were charging per booking. And I was like, wait, are they charging per booking?
Oh, is that what I said? Oh, no. Per listing, man. Sorry. Per month.
Yeah. Per month. I think I'm paying right now, what I saw was $14. Because as you get higher in more and you get more units, then your price also goes down, which I freaking love, dude. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't remember what the exact. I think it starts off maybe at 20 and
yeah,
then
it's
it
20.
drops down to 15.
Right.
And then
It's 20. It's 20. Yeah, it's 20. That's what they start at. And then, are you charging anything to the guests, like a management fee or anything like that, to be able to pay that, or you're just taking it out of your cut to run?
Honestly, man,
Yeah.
I just eat it.
Right.
I just pay for it. But the thing here's the way to actually think about it, in my opinion. You're gonna make the amount of money that you make using a pricing tool, any pricing tool. I'm not even talking about Pricelabs. Any pricing tool versus how much you spend on it is you make way more than you spend. Like if you spend $20, you may make an extra $100 or $200 that month. So
Right.
it's really actually not costing you anything. It's making you money, honestly. So
Beautiful.
I mean, I just eat it.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah, and that's great that you said that, because it's so powerful that I want the people listening that this is something that I was against for a long time, and now I see the power in it, and I see how beneficial it is, and I see that it's just worth it, right? It's worth to pay that monthly per unit. Like, just do it.
It's like a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Here's the
right?
thing: if you book, if it allows you to book one extra night, I'm pretty sure any unit that anybody has is way more than $20 a night. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so even if you book one extra night, like,
Yeah.
you've made way more than you've spent already.
Yeah,
so.
it pays itself. It pays itself for sure.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into kind of like the details of Pricelabs and like the power behind it, right? The features
Sure.
of Pricelabs. And dude, I should have. I was just thinking I should have done like an affiliate for Pricelabs or something. We're doing like a full commercial here on Pricelabs.
A full-blown.
Anybody at Pricelabs, if you hear this, man, I want my cut. Anybody?
Hey, post your link in the description there.
Right? Yeah. But so let's get into the features of it. Like, and this is why I really fell in love with it, and this is why I've been geeking out of it. Now, you probably know, you've been, messing around with it longer than I have, so you probably know more of these features. But there's 3 features that I found that have been amazing, and then we'll go into other features that I probably haven't even heard of. But so the customizations where is the biggest thing
That's where it's at.
Right. When I found that little area, because Pricelabs is really weird too, where like the layout, like sometimes like I feel like I find things just on accident. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't see the customizations first, even when I did that first trial. Like, I didn't see the customizations. I know you had talked about it to me, but I was like, I couldn't even find it. And then the other day
Yeah.
I found that I was like, oh, this is what Sean was talking about. And so the customizations that we're talking about here is like, what he says, like I have right now, I've only like really researched 3 of them, which was the orphan dates, right? You can, you know what I'm talking about, those in between dates in your calendar, so you can fill those up.
The gaps.
Right, the gaps. They have a occupancy profile, right? So
Yep.
as you get closer and closer to that date, and if it's not booked, you can either lower the price and it'll do it automatically for you. And then there's another one that I was the last minute one. But there's right, the last minute, which is the last minute is where if you haven't been booked and you're 15 days out, then it starts to, you can either do it like gradually and start lowering the rate gradually, or you can just do like a flat rate, like just like if we're 15 days out, just put it at $100 and let's get a booking in there. So
Right.
can you talk about those customizations? What are you using in your business, and what have you seen that's been beneficial, or something that I haven't found out about? Like, yeah, what customizations are you using in your business that have helped you keep your occupancy rate up?
Yeah, so you definitely hit some of the big ones. The you got to have the orphan gaps, which are basically what it is. If for any of your audience that doesn't know. Let's say you have a booking from like Monday to Wednesday, and then you have another booking from Friday to Monday or whatever. Well, you still have that Thursday, Friday morning gap there, right, in between the bookings. So it's like messing with the pricing to try and get those 2 days filled, because filled days are better than empty days, right? So that's a big one. Definitely the last minute ones. That's big to try and again fill your calendar. I like the occupancy profile. I really like that. I'm gonna give you a little gem.
Yeah.
Do you have your weekend days set?
No. What is that?
Okay, so don't you know how like obviously weekends are like the if you're ever gonna have occupancy issues, it's usually during the week. It's almost never the weekend.
Right.
Don't you hate those bookings that are like they'll book like Thursday, Friday, and then just leave Saturday, Sunday, or they'll book Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday's open.
Yes.
And you can never get Sunday booked because nobody wants to book on a Sunday.
Right. It irks
So
me.
what I did was one of the things that I did was you can set minimum. You know how you can set the minimum stay options?
Yes.
So for the minimum stay, I set it on 2 during the week, but on the weekends I set the minimum stay for 3, and then I changed my weekend days to Thursday and Friday. Right. So if somebody were to make a booking on Thursday, they have to book for a minimum of 3 days, which would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Right. So they can't leave me with a Saturday open.
Right.
And if they book on a Friday, they got to book Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they can't leave me with that Sunday open. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice. Where do you find that on
So that like eliminated.
Right.
Go ahead.
Where do you find that? Is that in the advanced customizations?
Yeah. So if you go to edit and then you go to the customizations,
right.
You go to advanced customizations.
Okay.
And then you can. That's where you can define your weekend days, and then where I actually changed the weekend days, I think it's on stay restrictions. I think.
Damn, that's dope. That is dope.
Stay restrictions. Yeah.
Have you done like the opposite, where it's like in those in between days that I guess in the orphan days, right, where it's like a Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and maybe you like go backwards instead of doing like a 3-night minimum, you do like, let's just do a 1-night minimum if it's not booked. Can you do it? Can you do that much? Like that much customization? Yeah.
You definitely can. So wow. I actually I'll tell you, outside of 30 days, I actually have my minimum days to 4 days. So I'm really trying to go for those bigger, kind of a little bit longer bookings that are going to take more space on my calendar outside of 30 days. Once they're within 30 days, they can book for 2 nights. And then if there's any gap at any point in the calendar, they can always book for a minimum of 2 nights. So like even if it's like a month, 35 days out, if there's a gap between 2 bookings that's like 2 days or 3 days, they're allowed to book during that time as well.
Oh, that's dope. And that's
really
with the same feature?
Keep my calendar. So well, I have if you look again on stay restrictions, you can see minimum stay for far out bookings.
Oh, okay.
You'll see like nights minimum outside of X, right? So outside of 35 days, I have minimum 4 days stay. And then minimum stay for orphan gaps, right? You can set it for 2.
Nice. Dude, like this is insane. Like for those of you who haven't been on Pricelabs and don't even know what we're talking about, like if you have an Airbnb listing, you need to get on Pricelabs. Like there's no other option, dude. Like why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you do that? I didn't understand that. Don't make my mistake. All right, listen to Sean. He knows what he's talking about. It's
a little technical. I know what we're talking about. It's like a little technical, especially if you've never used it or seen it before.
Right.
But all I'm basically saying is that as opposed to doing pricing on Airbnb where you have to manually go in and do this and that, right? You have a program that constantly updates your, number one, your pricing, number two, your rules, right? So like you can target, like I was saying, outside of 30 days, or really, I think I have it outside of 35 days even. I'm targeting bigger bookings, right? I'm trying to fill the calendar. And what I found, because so this is what I said when I in the beginning when I was messing around and I was taking a lot of time messing around with settings, I actually did a lot of A/B testing, right? So I would have one unit doing one thing and then another unit doing another thing, and I would compare to see how my occupancy was, how many gaps I had in my calendar, and those sorts of things.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how I came to my settings. But yeah, outside of the 35 days, you can have it set for longer than mine's 4 nights or more. And I found that's really helped me get those bigger bookings, those like juicier week-long bookings rather than the small fish that's going to book for 2 days and block off, your calendar.
Yeah. And do you have like a goal for like across the board? Like what's your occupancy rate, that goal that you're looking to hit every month, high season and low season, and are you hitting that with Pricelabs?
Right. So as far as occupancy rate goals, I mean, overall, if I can do 75% or better, I'm happy.
Right.
But really, what my goal is, again, this is another thing in Pricelabs, right? So in Pricelabs, you can actually see how booked your competition is. Right. So you can go in there and you can see, okay, how occupied am I? How is my listing doing compared to how my competition is doing? Right. So it'll tell you it'll tell you this for 7 days out, 30 days out, and 60 days out. So you can really get an idea for how well you're doing. This information alone is super valuable because there's a lot of times during slow season where you're just like, man, is there something wrong with my listing or is everybody doing bad?
Right.
Well, on Pricelabs, you can kind of see the overall market, and you can see, well, if you're at, let's say, you're at 50% occupancy, but the average of the market is at 65. Well, you got to tighten something up. You got to fix something. Maybe whatever it is. Maybe you got to drop your rates. Maybe you got to update your listing, your pictures, whatever.
Right.
But if you see that you're at 65, the market's at 65, or maybe even if you're at 70 and the market's at 65, you're doing all right. So my goal is to really, as long as I'm beating the market in pretty much all categories, I'm happy.
Yeah. Yep. That's a gem right there. That's a low key nugget because, to have, that's the power of Pricelabs, man, to have that type of insight on your market. And we're talking about your specific market, guys, like literally your neighborhood. And that's something I was going to ask you. One of the features that I like too is the neighborhood data, right?
Right.
Where you can go in. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I love this chart where it says like the 1 bedroom, the 2 bedroom, the 3 bedroom. It's showing like the 25th percentile, the 50th percentile, the 75th percentile, even the 90th percentile, and how everybody's pricing. So that is basically on pricing, right? Like the 25th is the lowest pricing, the 90th is the highest pricing, depending on how many bedrooms you have, right? So you kind of see your market like on average, and you can kind of tell, well, if my listing is a high-end listing, right, compared to everybody else, it's the best listing, or you think it's the best listing, right, compared to everybody else, then maybe I should be in the 75% or the 90% percentile, and I can maybe price myself higher.
Right.
So do you use that feature a lot? And I mean, you said you also use your competitors. Are you using exact comparables of other listings in your area and in Pricelabs or no?
So I actually do it a little bit differently as far as like competitor data. I do look at that. Like I do look at that the neighborhood data. I like to just to get like a general overview.
Okay.
But when I'm like kind of like doing my homework, I really actually use I like using AirDNA. Honestly,
okay.
I have the data here for Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah,
and I'm constantly on there every day, just analyzing the market, looking at what how much are these different houses doing?
Right.
What's their occupancy rate? What are they doing annually? Just so I can get a general idea. So I mean, after you do this consistently for, a few months, you start to see repetitive patterns like with anything else. And so I kind of have a general feel for like, what a 3-bedroom in this area does, what a 4-bedroom, what a 2-bedroom and all that sort of stuff kind of does, the overall occupancy rate. And then I combine that with like the 7-day, 30-day, 60-day benchmarks.
Okay.
Right. And that's kind of how I adjust for my pricing, right? Like if I see, like I say, I like to beat the market, but I also don't want to beat it by too much, right? Like if I'm like, let's say I'm like 100% booked, right? The average market is like 60% booked. Well, I could probably charge a little bit more and make a little bit more money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you can adjust it like that as long as you're kind of in line with the overall market.
Right.
You're not like going crazy,
Yeah. That's a good point. So yeah, you're using AirDNA and Pricelabs. Is there any other features in Pricelabs that I haven't mentioned here? That, like I said, I'm still pretty new to this thing. So, is there any features that you're using? Like that's like, oh man, you need to get on this part of Pricelabs that has helped you grow your business and keep the occupancy rate up.
Yeah, definitely mess with the far out pricing because what I noticed is sometimes Pricelabs, for whatever reason, like the goal is to make the most, right? Really.
Right.
That's kind of always the goal. So it's like outside of 60 days, like 2 months is plenty of time to get a place booked, in my opinion. Right. So outside of 60 days, I like to charge premiums, honestly. And if I can get a big fish outside of 60 days, then, I'm going to take it. So, But what I've noticed is sometimes Pricelabs will charge a lot lower for like, things outside of 60 days. So like, for example, they may charge where I think in October or something, it's like right now it's July. In October, they may charge on a place that I know I can get 300 a night for. They may charge like $225 in October, and I'm like, well, if somebody wants to book for October now, let me try to get that one person who's willing to spend the money, because I know once it gets within 60 days, I'm probably going to be able to get it booked anyways on whatever Pricelabs at that time determines the optimal prices.
Gotcha.
But outside of that, I try to catch a premium.
Gotcha.
So I like that. And then obviously the occupancy profile is just huge. I think that's very important.
Yeah. So are you overriding the price that they give you outside of 60 days far out?
Yeah, outside of 60 days, I just so you can set if you go to the settings, you can on the far out pricing, you can just set seasonal and minimum pricings. So you can set what you want your minimum pricing to be outside of whatever days you want. So you could set that. You could set it to 90 days if you want. You can set it to 6 months if you want. Or you can set it to whatever you want. And then this is the minimum I want outside of this. Outside of these days, right? So, so then it'll just redo your pricing for you. So I do essentially override.
Right. With the customization. So, yeah. I mean, I can't stress it enough, guys. Like this, Pricelabs is so customizable. I regret not doing this years ago, But, and I think it's just one of the best software. I don't think you can compare it with the other softwares on the market. I mean, I have the other two softwares that I've been that I've had experience is Beyond, and then unfortunately I tried the smart pricing tool with Airbnb when I didn't know anything. when I first started out in 2018, and that was don't ever do that. But it's I haven't seen any other software that's better than Pricelabs. Have you?
No, I haven't. I think the big three are Pricelabs, Beyond Pricing, and then Wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse, exactly. We haven't even talked about Wheelhouse.
I've never messed with that. Yeah, I've never messed with it. I don't know. I've heard it's kind of clunky, but I don't know. I'm just happy with Pricelabs, so I haven't really moved,
Right. So, Definitely anybody from Pricelabs that's watching this, this is your free commercial. So hit me up, hit me and Sean up. I wanted to ask you, I know some people use Pricelabs with Rank Breeze. Are you using Rank Breeze at all?
So I used to use Rank Breeze actually. I had it I tried it out for a couple months. So you could kind of see, it's like a tool to basically see where you're ranking at on the search results for Airbnb, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I think also you can kind of pick competitors and see what they're booking at as well. They have that feature, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really find the value too much in Rank Breeze, like,
okay,
because what kind of sold me in trying it out, right, was that like you can see what the people who are ranked up the top, what they're doing, I guess what their titles are and this and that or whatever, and you can see they're supposed to be able to give you suggestions to help you rank better, right? What I found personally, I took their suggestions. It kind of helped a little bit, but it didn't really smooth anything out. Like, it just kind of, I don't know, did what it did, honestly. So I didn't.
Yeah, that was definitely a selfish question, because I was looking at Rank Breeze myself. So that was a question for me. Like, are you using Rank Breeze at all? Because I've seen, I saw a couple. Well, my last interview, he was telling me that he does pricing with Pricelabs and Rank Breeze. And he had a really cool method down, so it was pretty cool. All right, so yeah, man. Again, Pricelabs, awesome. Definitely recommend it. Now, I'm asking this to all my interviewers. All right. For these people that are starting out in Airbnb, right? Or they're thinking about it, or they have their first listing. It's good to have these interviews, because we see your origin story and how you got started, and kind of, I want to motivate and really teach people that it is possible, right? It is possible to do it as a side hustle, and it's possible to be a professional and really make this a career for yourself. But so I want to kind of give how would you say, a roadmap to somebody, right?
Sure.
From experts in the industry. Sean, if you were to start all over from scratch, all right, knowing what you knew now, how would you get started in an Airbnb business?
It's kind of a tough question, honestly, man, because it depends, really. Like, it depends. Do you have capital? Do you have the money to kind of start and maybe buy a place? That's obviously an expensive option. I think it's also can be a relatively safe option, because you don't have the pressure, number one, of somebody like breathing down your neck. Obviously you have like a mortgage to pay, right? But you can always, if it doesn't work out, typically you can like rent it long term and it'll be okay. So if you have that option to invest in a property, you can try that. Management, obviously, but the only thing about management, this is the one downside to management. It can be very tough to convince an owner to manage their place when you have no experience. And also there is like a lot of it's kind of a lot of things you kind of have to learn about how to actually run the business. That would kind of suck for the first owner if you don't really know what you're doing. Right. So for that reason alone, I would say, if you can try a rental arbitrage, it's a lot cheaper than owning a property. That might be a good place for rental arbitrage to start out, learn the business, get your feet wet, learn how it all works. Right. And then kind of shift over to a management model once you kind of have everything down packed, have your systems kind of on go, right? Right. Otherwise, I would say maybe finding somebody who's already in the business and seeing if you can work with them, help them out, work for free, just to learn, because there are a lot of different little nuances that need to be learned. But once you get that initial information, definitely I like the management route or the ownership route. Either one of those works really well.
Right.
But starting a management company and reaching out to owners, partnering with them, and growing from there.
Yeah. I like what you said on working with somebody else that has experience in the industry, because I think that's very overlooked, right? You can be of value maybe for a property owner, right? Or just a property manager. You can be of value for these experts that are in there, because there's so much growth right now, right? And a lot of these property managers need help, right? Like myself, like you. So, or just find an owner, right? That, hey, maybe they know what they're doing, but they don't have enough time. Maybe you just co-host with them, right? Like, hey, like I'll answer your messages, whatever you want me to do, like, so you can get that experience. So I really like that you said that. So yeah, man, that's a great roadmap. You heard it from Sean. If you can buy, you buy. If not, maybe try a rental arbitrage, and so you can get your feet wet, get those systems down, then go to property management. Last thoughts, Sean. Anything else that you want to say about Pricelabs, about any advice for somebody who's getting started in Airbnb, and then also where can we find you? Social media, website, whatever you have that where people can find you to contact you if they want to work with you.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of some last thoughts. Definitely, if you're not using a pricing tool, I would highly recommend looking into it. I think, my personal opinion, you're probably leaving a decent amount of money on the table if you're not. So just check it out. Any of the tools will do. I prefer Pricelabs, but any of the tools will do. If you're just getting started, just keep pushing, just keep going, and it's a great business to be in.
Yeah.
As far as where you can find me, our socials right now have a lot of things I need to do. There's a lot of things on the list, but you can reach out to us on easybreezybnb.com, EASYBREEZYBNB.com. We also have an Instagram, easybreezybnb, and as well as a Facebook. They don't look active, but I promise if you send a message, I'll see it.
Good.
So feel free to reach out on any of those locations.
Perfect, man. So Sean, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. Definitely appreciate you coming and sharing your knowledge with our audience, and for everybody listening, I hope you like this episode. The second interview with Sean. Let me know what you guys think. Please subscribe, like it, share it with your friends, and make sure you leave us a review if you liked what you heard today. If you learned anything at all, we want to hear from you. So I'll see you guys next time on the BNB Professional. Thanks, Sean, and I'll see you in a bit.
Later.
All right, man.